Okay, we'll be starting it. Okay. Mm, so can you give me the brief of what we have discussed yesterday? Uh, guys, today we'll be discussing about exception handling. Okay. So, what are exceptions? What are exceptions? So, tell me what is an exception. If anyone knows, tell me what is an exception. Which handles errors. No, exception handling means which handles errors. Then what is exception is? Sound लगी. Abnormal situation. Okay. You can say it as exception is an handling runtime errors. No, 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 no. There are compile time errors also. Okay. An exception is an unwanted process or unwanted process, or we can say unwanted, say, code. Okay, unwanted code which interrupts the flow of our program. Okay, an exception is an unwanted or incorrect code. It's better to say it as a code. Unwanted or incorrect code which interrupts the flow of our program. Okay, and thus the program will be broken. Okay, and thus the program will be broken. Okay, this is called as an exception. Okay, so to handle these, these exceptions or errors, exceptions or errors in Java, we use exception handling. We use exception handling methods. Okay, we use exception handling methods. Okay, so these all exceptions, all of these exceptions are the subclass of a class called throwable. So in Java, there is a class called throwable. Okay, so all exceptions, all the exceptions like say we'll get exceptions such as uh, code errors, code errors. Okay, syntax errors are the subclasses of our main class called throwable. Okay, okay, these are all the subclasses of our main class called throwable. Okay, so these follow a hierarchy. This throwable class follows an hierarchy. So what is a hierarchy? So the hierarchy is, if we say this as a throwable class, okay, We consider this as a throwable class. Okay, this is a throwable class. This class extends two things. What are they? One thing is error, and the second thing is exception. Okay, okay, it extends these two. Mm, okay, then after this exception class extends two more classes. Okay, two more subclasses. Okay, those are, one is runtime exception and another one is IO exception. Okay, okay, one is runtime exception and another one is IO exception. These classes are further extended. Okay, so these classes are further extended. These classes are further extended to one thing, two things, and three things. Okay, and this is one, and this is two. Keep it like this. Okay, one is null pointer exception, and another one is index out of bound. Okay, index out of bound exception, and another one is illegal argument exception. Another one is illegal argument exception. And here there are IO exceptions. IO exceptions means input to output exceptions, which are just say file not found exception and EOF exception, which means end of file. EOF exception, end of file exception. Okay, and furtherly, the illegal argument exception is extended to number format exception. Okay, furtherly it is extended to number format exception. Okay, these are all the exception classes we are having in our Java. Okay, these are all the exception classes we are having in our Java. Okay, this is a hierarchy of exceptions in Java. Okay, this is a hierarchy of exceptions in Java. Okay, let's just make it a copy for this one. So, okay, these are all the exception classes we are having in Java. Let me just write it here for you. Global class exchange runtime and error and exception. And this is furtherly error exceptions or furtherly divided into two types. One is runtime and another one is error exceptions. Okay, these runtime exceptions are furtherly divided into null pointer exception and say index out of bound exception and say illegal argument exception. Okay, and then these IY exceptions are furtherly are not found exception. And then UF exception. Okay, okay. And our index out of bound exception is furtherly moved to exception furtherly moved to number format exception. Okay, number format exception. So these are the exceptions of our each and every class of our throwable class. Okay, these are the exceptions we see in our. These are most of the exceptions we see in our Java course. Okay, let's see one by one. Let's just see one by one. Let me just open this one. So let me give you a concept of this one more concept, like saying, see, when an exception occurs, the statement responsible for that would be thrown thrown by an object of the class throwable. Okay, just see, when an exception occurs, the statement of okay of a class throwable. Okay, so whenever ever an object is thrown, should be caught. Okay, it should be caught with try catch box. Okay, it should be caught with try catch blocks in our exception handling. If not, the statements in the function should be skipped. Okay, the statements in the functions should be skipped. Okay, okay. Till when this process happens is till when this process happens, catching the errors is this process happens repeatedly until the exception is handled. Okay, or until the exception is encountered, or until the exception is gone. Okay, this this process happens until the exception is handled or removed. Okay. If you don't remove the exception, what happens? If you don't remove the exception, what happens? Throws us an error, right? Throws us an error. Either it may be runtime error, IO error, or compile time error, right? So it should be a handled. Okay. So it should be handled. So these exceptions are divided into two types of more. Okay. Are divided into two types. Okay. The first one is checked exceptions, and the second one is unchecked exceptions. Okay. First one is checked exceptions, and the second one is unchecked exceptions. Okay. So what are these, sir? So let's see about checked exceptions. Okay. Checked exceptions occurs at compile time. Okay. And then unchecked exceptions when they happen at runtime. Yes. Good. Okay. Let me introduce to one more thing. The exceptions which can be handled by the code are called checked exceptions. Okay. Okay. These exceptions occur at where these exceptions occur compile time. Okay. These exceptions are occurred at compile time. Okay. When it comes to unchecked exceptions, okay, the exceptions which need not to be handled are called unchecked exceptions. These occurred Okay, these exceptions are create runtime. Okay. So where we can get these exceptions from? So sorry, let's just see the examples of our exceptions, guys. Let's just see the examples of our exceptions. So we create a project. So tell me, how can we create a project? Yeah. Okay. What are the exceptions we are having? So first exception we can see is runtime exceptions. In runtime exceptions, you can see null pointer exception, right? See, for a null pointer exception, okay, and these may not have been initialized. So, okay, I say as this doesn't continue, right? give this something to say token mismatch. Now this one handle exceptions. If I say this one as null and it's I say it here, then we say twice. If this say scam dot equals n, okay, so say scam dot equals n, what does it say? This I'll say is O no exception. Okay. Always it should catch null pointer exception. Is okay. So null pointer exception. And I'll say print stack trace of E. Okay. This one, for this one, let's say, yeah, okay, this one. Dot print stack trace. Okay. If I say this one, okay, I need to save this one and it should not be shown now, right? It's not really just using it. It is not console front like that. Okay. Sorry guys. Sorry. Okay, see here, this null is here, my string is pointing towards a null means this is a keyword in Java where it points towards no empty space, where it points towards an empty space. Okay, so when I try to convert this null to uppercase case or lowercase, okay, to uppercase or lowercase, what happens? It just throws me an exception of your string is pointing towards a null. You cannot convert it to a lowercase or uppercase. Okay, okay, to lowercase or uppercase. Okay, and it throws me an exception called null pointer exception. Okay, to avoid these things, what we do is, see here what they have given. I think it is visible for you. Yeah, exception in thread main java.lang.null pointer exception cannot invoke string dot lowercase because n is pointing towards null. Okay, okay, this is the exception we are having. So to handle this exception, we can handle this exception. Okay, how we can say? We can say it by try. Just simply take this one, and you can say try this one. If not, catch null pointer exception E and say E dot print stack trace. Okay, this will print the same thing as we seen before, but instead of printing stack trace, we can say, we can handle it by saying sys o, just say the string is null. Simply say the string is null. Okay, the exception is handled. Okay, do you got an idea how the exception is handled? So here we can do other operations also if there is an exception. If you can think there is an exception, we can say I'll say if that is the exception, I'll say n should change to CMR IT. Okay, if that is exception in my case, if my n is showing towards a null, I can say print n. Okay, what does it print? It prints CMR IT. Okay, so what have we have done here? We thought that there could be an exception. Okay, we thought that there could be an exception, and we just simply handled it. Okay, we just simply handle the exception through try catch block. Okay, this is the main thing in exception handling. We always use try catch blocks. Okay, we always use try catch blocks or throws keyword. Okay, or throws keyword. I can simply say here, from not writing these things, we simply say throws null pointer exception. And if I say run this one, see here it prints me the stack trace. Okay, so throws keyword is used for just intimating our method that there is an exception, but that exception can be handled using try catch block only. Okay, that exception can be handled using try catch block only. Okay, here we haven't printed, right? Okay, like this. Okay, okay, let's just see some examples for this is our null pointer exception completed, and we'll be seeing about illegal argument exception or index out of bound exception. Okay, let's just see, comment this one, and I say there is a string which says Karthik. Okay, how many letters are there? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Right? If I say this O n dot caret of n, I want the character in my string which is at position number 10. Are there positions? Are there 10 positions? No, right? So it will throw me an string index out of bound exception. Okay, which is index out of bound exception. Okay, which says index 10 is out of the bounds of length 7. Okay, of length 7. It says that there is no character at index 10 because your string is only of length 7. Okay, so this can be handled in the same way. How? We say try catch, we say, and say e, and we'll print it. Index out of one exception, we say here. We'll start print go, and we say we'll handle it by saying the length of the string is only n dot length. Okay, we'll say it like this. Here we handle it in this way. The length of the string is only 7. So there is no index with 10. Okay, okay, we'll say like this. The length of the string is only 7, so there is no index with 10, and we handled our error. Okay, we handled our error by not showing them in our console. Okay, So for illegal format exception, there is the thing called say, information also right. We end it like this. So, let's say there is thing. This is five. I say if marks less than zero or marks greater than 100, so good. Else, okay, what does it do? So nothing left, right? Hmm. So here we say we will be catching it with throw new legal argument exception. Mm, when which is the marks should be Range. Okay, range. Syntax error. Using alternate exception. Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And oh, okay. Okay. So this one I'll get marks, right? So what could be the good example for this one? This is not with a good example. Illegal argument बोले तो we'll be seeing it. We'll be seeing it for furtherly. Okay. Now we'll be moving towards IO exceptions, which are input output exceptions. Okay. These exceptions are say will be found while we are learning IO. Okay, input output streams in Java. Okay. So let's just move towards other examples of our exceptions. I say whenever there are more exceptions, there are exceptions such as exceptions. We have exceptions such as class not found exception. Okay, and SQL exception. Okay, SQL exception. And your the thing of file not found exception. Okay, file not found exception and IO exceptions are also Ever exceptions are also checked exceptions. Okay. There is an exception called interrupted exception. Okay, interrupted exception. Okay, these are all checked exceptions. Okay, when it comes to unchecked exceptions, when it comes to unchecked exceptions, we will be seeing as automatic exceptions. Okay, null pointer exception, next out of bond exception, etc. Okay, next out of bond exception and illegal format exception. Okay, these are these all comes under unchecked exceptions. Okay, this all comes under unchecked exceptions. So in checked exceptions, the compiler checks if the statement that could be possibly checked or not. Okay, so that then after it is handled. Okay, then after it can be handled. Okay, whereas in unchecked exceptions, the exception directly throws an runtime error. Okay, exception directly throws an runtime error. So what is the approach? What is the Java's approach of handling these exceptions? Before I went directly into try catch block, okay, see what is the Java's approach in handling these errors. Okay, Java's approach has try catch blocks. Okay, okay, where the experiment is done here and okay and caught in the catch block. Okay, so in this try catch block, if any statement is caught with an error, with an runtime error, okay, with a runtime error, it just throws our exception object. Okay, it just throws our exception object which is in our catch block. Okay, okay, and then there are keywords called finally. What it does is if there is exception or no exception. This block of code will be executed always. Okay, there could be a exception or there could not be an exception. This block always executes. Okay, so this can be in the form of try and finally, or it can be in the form of try, catch, finally. Okay, try, catch, finally. Okay, it can be in the form of these things. Okay, okay, these are the, this is the concept of exceptions, right? Okay, we'll be seeing more examples tomorrow on this exception. Okay, we'll be seeing more examples. I'll be getting all the examples for you on this exception handling, guys. Just remember the concept for tomorrow. Okay, this is for today's class, and just